Hell yeah, dude. We're here.
Are you ready?
Damn, dude. This is going to be... Man, I'm in my scholar bag right now.
Oh, boy.
I did so much research.
I don't know if I like that.
You're going to like it, dude.
All right.
You're going to have a good time, dude.
You
So
think I'm going to have
basically,
a blast?
I've explained to you the gist of this, right?
Yes.
So basically...
A little weary.
It's weary. It's weary territory.
Yes.
It's quicksand, but I think it's good. I think it's good territory. And
It certainly is quicksand.
This is so fun. This was probably one of the funnest things I've never like just independently looked into a thing. You do like school projects and you're kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know if like doing this. I was like, this was keeping me on the edge of my seat.
Nice.
So the whole thing started with the book. I think it was called, let me see. I think it was History from Dr. Maria Kumin, PhD. I think she was schooled in like the Eastern Bloc or something. I think she went to some like wild ass school, but she lives in the States right now. So what happened was I was reading Irish mythology and I came across Cuchulainn, the hero. And I'm like, that's cool. Then I started reading a book about the Mayans and I came across Cuchulainn, a myth from Mayan culture. And I was like, damn, they sound kind of familiar. That's weird. So I just Google it and this lady's books come up. It's the title of the one I read is Ancient History Since Noah's Flood, How Modern Science Shapes It. The other one is Celts in America Before Columbus, Origin of the Native Americans.
Ooh.
Yeah, this lady fucking puts out some hot shit. So I was just like, this lady's name happened to come up first. So I email her like, dude, did I just make a groundbreaking fucking discovery? And she was like, no. She's like, we pretty much all know that the Mayans are Celts, but like, you got to go back and read my first book. Yeah, she speaks with
she's like a black Israelite for Celts.
Yes. Well, just like she is like a black Israelite.
She thinks we was Mayan kings.
Dude, that's what all this stuff kind of boils down to, which is very fun. But it's like how this...
So this is...
So I started reading it.
Black Israelites for white people.
Yes. So I started reading it and I go, 'cause I'm reading the book. So I'll give you the taste of the book. And then I start going like, this all sounds oddly familiar. And I go, oh, this was German. This was like Nazi propaganda kind of. It was the stuff, but it all comes from Zoroastrianism and those ancient texts and like the people who went over and tried to translate them and how that was tied to like tensions between the French and the British. It's fucking cool. But yeah, it's just a trigger warning. If you somehow are like hooked on the ancient aliens notion of this, you might get dismayed because it casts.
Oh, you're here to debunk Nazi propaganda?
Oh, I was reading this like, this is cool as fuck. You're telling me the culture with the Mayans, I'm all with it. And then I start reading this stuff and I go, I've heard this before. And then I go, oh, okay. So that's how the whole thing kind of came about. And it's also, the thing I was looking at too is like you get the Celts and you get the Mayans and you can start going into it like a collective unconscious kind of thing, like how there were dragons in every single major, like in the folklore. So whatever. But so this lady's like, you got to read this book and you'll get the answers to this. It's very, exactly. So I'm reading like 10 pages of it. And I'm like, this seems
you went like this. Got it.
That's pretty much what happened.
10th page.
I read 10 pages
Done.
and I was like, this sounds like the stuff like I heard about like Nazi propaganda. So then I start researching the link between this hypothesis this lady had and Nazi propaganda. And then I got into an even stranger realm, which was I started reading an article about Germans and Iranians and how sometimes at soccer games they toss up fat Nazi salutes at each other. So I started going, what the heck?
Yeah.
Why is that? And then it took me to the whole thing about Prince of Persia. This is where my whole research started. So I started that book. I go, this seems kind of fucking weird. Started looking up like how the Aryan like myths are related to Nazi propaganda. And then it took me to an article by PBS saying how when the Prince of Persia came out, everyone spazzed because Jake Gyllenhaal starred in it. Everyone was like, this is fucking bullshit. Like that should be a person of color playing that. And everyone was like, yeah, it's like ancient
Persia.
Persia.
Hated Alexander the Great.
Yeah, they're like ancient Persia, like clearly that guy's brown. And then the Reza Aslan, who's like he's an Iranian intellectual guy. So he came out and everyone was like raising hell about this, and even him, he's like a liberal intellectual from Iran. He was like, nah, dude. He was like, back then we all looked like Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah. We was white kings.
You know what they used to say about Alexander?
What?
He had hair like a lion's mane.
Really?
He had blonde hair.
Yeah. Where was he from?
Persia.
So
Greece, Macedonia.
Well, that's where this whole thing starts. So, but the funny part was a lot of people came out and were like, there's clearly, that should have been like an Indian guy or something. And like the Iranians were like, nah, we were white back then.
Yeah.
So I start going, what the heck?
What the fuck?
What the heck, dude?
This ain't no damn Iranian.
So basically, this is going to explain the Aryan myth and how it's played a role in World War II politics in ways that are pretty mind-boggling when you get to the backstory of where we're going to explore right now, the backstory based on this lady's book. This is what I absorbed. So we know that Prince of Persia came out. Fucking white-ass Gyllenhaal comes out, and all the fucking white libs are like, what the hell? And Persians are like, nah, dude, we were white. And everyone goes, all right, well, this is confusing. Like, what the fuck?
Well, have you seen Iranians now?
They're pretty fair skinned.
A lot of them are, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're pretty fair skinned, but they were basically saying, like, dude, we were even whiter before that. So here's where...
You're saying we was kangs.
We was white kangs. This is ancient. No, I'm telling you, this is fucking... What, are you looking at them?
No, I'm just listening, thinking of we was white kangs.
This is that, though. This
then
is Black
morphed
Israelites.
into just Italians.
This is Black Israelites.
Which is what they look like
Yeah,
now.
that's what happened. This was Black Israelites for white dudes in Nazi Germany. They did. This is what happens. If you fucking let those dudes who are like screaming like Black Israelites, they will fucking, they'll fuck shit up.
If they somehow got
if we have a
hold
Black
of an
Israelite
army.
president, dude, it's over, dude.
Yeah.
We're in for a tough time. So here's where the book starts. So the lady starts with Noah's flood. So Noah comes off the ark. It's all backed
mythical
up. It's all backed up
event.
scientifically, dude. Don't even worry about it.
Okay.
So a large flood happens, and Noah gets off the ark and docks in the Caucasus Mountains. Makes sense. He has 3 sons: Sem, who is said to have fathered all the Semites, Arabs and Jews; Ham, who is said to be the father of... Oh, no, sorry. Sem is the father to all the Semites. I think just the Jewish guys. Ham is the father of Arabs, and Japheth is the father of the Bulgarians and Macedonians, who then apparently gave rise to basically the white bros, like the Celts, the Briggs, the Greeks, and so on. So they like don't even talk about Sam, and they don't talk about that. They just talk about this group of people who were the Bulgarians and Macedonians who were living around like the Balkan Peninsula along the Black Sea. So these were like the Thracians, kind of. So there's already tribes there, and then Noah's son goes and just happens to mix it up with all of them, which is important because it kind of comes into play later with like how they translate it, because all this is based off of a Zoroastrian, like the Zoroastrian Bible that's written in a dead language.
Yeah.
And it's like, so people have kind of like...
I guess you don't need the Moses story, though.
The Noah story? Well,
or Noah, yeah. You don't need that. You can just say a guy traveled there.
Exactly.
And started
But this is because
mixing.
It's coming with this because of this is how this kind of started to bleed into kind of Europe culture of like,
okay.
Yeah, I think that was Noah actually. You know, that's how like that was like a foot in the door. And also too, a lot of this stuff is based on, I think Herodotus, the Greek historian, and he was the guy being Herodotus. He was the guy being like, so Noah, blah blah blah. So that's where a lot of this stuff came from. So maybe Noah was real. I don't know, but that's kind of where this stuff comes from and why it's like based on Noah. So there's a bunch of people. It's like there's Jewish guys, Arabs, Slavs, Celts, Briggs, Hellenic tribes, Bulgarians, Huns, and on and on and on. And this lady is basically claiming she's going, the people who originally lived there before Noah's kids came were the Thracian Aryans, which, get ready for this, they worship the god Ares, which is the god of war. Therefore, bam, dude. Come on, dude.
Nice.
Dude, I mean, you have no way. You can't argue that.
What?
It's like page 3. She was like, and the god of war is Ares, who they worship. Therefore, they're Aryans is proof. Next page.
Oh.
So that's what she's read. So, and again, this is just the backstory.
She's fibbing.
This is the backstory. Again, I'm giving you
the book of fibs.
I'm giving you the backstory. And the whole reason I'm giving you this so we can get to the Avesta scriptures. So the way she's so what happens is you're like, people think there were Aryans. It's like if you ask like, some white dudes, they're like, well, we were fucking Aryans, blonde hair, blue eyes. If you ask Indian dudes, they're like, no. We're Aryans. Aryans originated from this area. That's all bullshit. And all of the confusion comes around the Avesta scriptures of the Aryans, which was written in the Avesta language, I think maybe 5,000, 4,000 years ago. So it's a dead language, and like there was dudes from Iran who were practicing Zoroastrians who translated it in like old Iranian or old Persian language. So does that make sense?
Yes.
It's confusing. So like basically they're saying that there was all of these people living, this lady's saying that they're all living in the Balkan Peninsula, and like specifically the ones who were descendants of, I mean, that doesn't even matter, but like the people there who, like the Celts and the Briggs, she's like, they were Aryans. And she's saying that the Avesta scriptures back it up. So this is why she thinks it does. So according to when they translate it, and we'll get into the guy who translated the Zend-Avesta. Well, the Zend-Avesta is the translated Avestan scriptures. So here's a story this lady has from the Avesta scriptures. That's why she thinks this. She said the Aryans started out on an island in the Pacific Ocean, and the west side, and like a Polynesian island. So the west side of the island started to sink, and so they settled in Siberia and named it Area. So at this time, Siberia was a blooming paradise with 7 months of summer and 5 months of winter. But then it got cold all of a sudden, which according to Dr. Kumin was because 12,000 years ago, the poles flipped at 60 degrees, leaving Siberia a frozen tundra with 10 months of winter and 2 months of summer. So this is the big ice age.
Yeah.
So in the Avesta scriptures, it reports that the quote-unquote Aryan people who came from the Polynesian islands walked through a blizzard for, it could have been generations, dude. They walked through a blizzard, and that's where this was the first version of the story where they're like, they walked through a blizzard for generations and probably became white and then settled in the Balkan Peninsula. So this is why this scripture kind of points to the fact that like people use this to be like, again, this could just be Indian dudes too, because Indian guys like, yeah, we started in Polynesia, then we fucking came down here. So then they have them settling around like Iran and then spreading out into that Balkan.
But Polynesia is not one of the cradles of civilization.
So here's the problem. Again, this is what all of this stuff's based off of. They switched that though. Later on, the Germans were like, we didn't come from fucking Polynesia. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
So then also within the, whatchamacallit. So in the Avesta scriptures, which is just like the Bible for Zoroastrians, they also had a one God. So they were a monotheistic religion. So they believed in their God was named Ahura Mazda. Pretty sick.
Yes.
So at this point,
it sounds like a picture.
It's Ahura Mazda. Yeah. And they all believed that there was like, they were made of like, there was a good light spirit. So there's Ahura Mazda. There was a good light spirit, Spenta Manu, and who was there to battle Angra Mainyu, which was like the negative dark spirit of like matter. And they thought we were like we were made of like physical evil matter and like a holy light.
The Aryans believed all this.
Yeah, and it's okay. It sounds a little similar to Christianity, whatever. But the problem is, and it's like this book exists and it does talk about this stuff, but for some reason the argument is like Indian dudes are like, no, we're Aryans, and you had the Germans in World War II being like, no, we're Aryans, and that's where it all kind of came from. But he also, when Hitler came around, he took that, you're saying like that Polynesian thing.
Yeah.
He was like, he came up with the northern hypothesis. He was like, we didn't come from there. We originated in like Scandinavia. And then migrated and founded all of these. We founded like India. We founded, that was like the modern story he went to. So we covered the Jake Gyllenhaal thing, covered the Reza Aslan. So the way this lady got her hands on this book and like discovered all of this stuff is there was a French guy who actually coined the term Aryan, because it was like, it was like Ariana, blah, blah, blah. He made the term Aryan. He was a Frenchman in 1750. He was a French Orientalist. There's just guys who used to like study like China.
The Orient.
Yeah, the Orient back then. So his name was Abraham Hyacinth Anquetil Duperon. Abraham, dude.
Founded the Aryans? Talk about your all-time backfires.
Yeah, dude. So he was like, he wasn't even about that. He just was like, the problem in 1750, the French and the Brits are colonizing the East. So they're battling, dude. So like, and for that reason, like, it's kind of hot to study Eastern religions. So Britain was killing it because they're like, they're coming home. They're like, I think they brought home like 300 or 200 like Sanskrit and Avestan manuscripts, but they couldn't translate them. They had no idea what they said. They were just like, check this shit out, dude.
Yeah.
We know the most about the Middle East. And the French were like, fuck you, dude. So then this guy, he was studying, ancient languages at a French college, and his professor's like, check this shit out. He's like, what is it? And he was like, this is a copy of the Avesta manuscripts, the ancient Zoroastrian manuscripts, but they don't know what it means. And the guy, Abraham, is like, fuck that, I'm going over there. He's like, I'm going to translate all those things and bring them back to France and, restore France to glory. So he's like, fuck, I'm going to join the military, because that was his only way over there. And then on the way over there, he like got sick and like passed out and puked. He's just a nerd.
Yes.
So he got sick on the boat, passed out and puked. And the guy in charge was like, what the fuck are you doing? He was like, I'm here to study ancient manuscripts and bring glory to France. And they're like, all right, dude, we'll discharge you from the military. We'll give you a little stipend. And then you can go and like learn all of these ancient secrets and we'll get you back to France. Like, we don't want you fighting. He was like, sick. All right, I'll do that then.
Yeah.
So 6 months later, Abraham's in India eating only rice and veggies. And he's trying to find a Brahmin or a guru to kind of like show him the secrets of the Orient. And then he walks really far and he gets super sick again and just kind of like lays somewhere sick for a while and then recoups. And then he walks back to Pondicherry where he finds his brother who holds position in this like little area. And he's like, dude, I can hook you up with Zoroastrian priests. But it turns out that the local Zoroastrians at this time were just trying to secure foreign alliances since they themselves were at war with another sect of Zoroastrians over an intercalation dispute, which is an argument about what month it is. So the Zoroastrians were like, one sect was like, it's fucking May. And they're like, dude, it's fucking June.
It's June.
And they were,
don't bring it up again.
They're like, it's fucking May.
We're coming with swords.
So they started fighting each other.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Abraham Duperon is just kind of like, yo, what's up with your guys' secrets? And they're like, we could probably use French allies.
Yeah,
so they're like,
hey, us, the guys fighting about what month it is? Yeah, we have ancient secrets.
I know. And that's what that lady's hypothesis I just laid out is based off this guy's translations of the Avesta. It's called the Zend-Avesta. The Avesta is the scriptures. The Zend-Avesta is the translation. So they're just kind of leading him on. Be like, yeah, we got you, bro. Like, yo, what's up with your brother? You know, they're kind of like, how many guys you got? And, you know, so Abraham is like, they're leading him on. He thinks he's getting secrets. And eventually he figures out. And they were battling the British the whole time they were there. So he's like.
In India?
In that whole area. They had like, I think it's the Carnatic Wars or something. It was like in the East. I think India was kind of like worried the French were impinging on their India stuff and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I guess India or France might have been in Vietnam back then.
Really?
I don't know. I know they were. I mean, I don't know how long they were in Vietnam. Obviously, England controlled India.
Yeah, this was like 1750.
The Dutch controlled Sri Lanka. The Dutch were motherfuckers.
Yeah, they're bad.
Yeah.
They're bad boys. So I think the French are over there.
Holland is just a bank.
Yeah, wasn't Switzerland too? Isn't that why it's always neutral?
Yeah, kind of. But Holland was like historically like.
Let me see if I can
just
pull up
stun on people.
Because there was I got my sources, bro.
No, it's all right. I don't think it matters. You don't have to get it.
All right, because there was a third Coronatic Wars, and
the French and
they were
English
mixing it up
everywhere,
somewhere
for sure. They were fighting here.
Yeah, were they here?
Yeah.
So I think they
French
had
and Indian Wars.
They had some beefs over there, but you'll see
everywhere.
Yeah, they were beefing over in that area because they were more. I guess they were more around like
colonial wars everywhere.
They were in like modern day Iran.
Oh, okay.
And then kind of like there was like Pondicherry as an area of France or in India. So I think they had a little bit of holdings in India, but I don't know. But they're in the intercalation dispute, and then Abe starts getting hip to the fact. He's like, these guys aren't giving me shit, dude. So he's like, fuck this. So he started getting super paranoid. So he leaves this city. He also started pulling a gun on people a lot.
Nice.
Like he would get on a ferry, and the ferry would like be like run like just like held up, and he'd go to the pilot or the captain and be like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Started pulling a gun on. And anytime he got he's like, this is like started to set him off. So he started just pulling guns on people.
Yeah. It was 1750 and he was in India.
Yeah, he was just getting nervous.
He's going to start putting guns on people.
He was getting nervous.
They don't have them right now.
So he gets out of that area, goes somewhere else. He makes it to Bengal, and he's invited to the home of a Zoroastrian nobleman, a dude by the name of Kota, who promised to let him in on all the ancient secrets he could handle. But during, and he was giving him some translations, like, yeah, check this out, and he was giving Abraham, like, at the very beginning of the Bible, they'll be like, and this guy's the son of this guy, and blah, blah. He was giving him bullshit. And Abraham was like, what the fuck, dude? So, and at the same time, the same thing, the dude Kota was selling a ton of his Zoroastrian noblemen out to the Brits at the same time. So he was engaged in like some very dangerous business. It's like the block is hot as fuck, dude. You still have the calendar fight going on. But then one night, Abe's studying with Kota. He's just kind of like, he's reading the text. He's like kind of feeling weird. And all of a sudden, he starts feeling like he's getting weird sexual vibes from Kota while going over these texts. And this is an excerpt from Abe's autobiography. I thought he was being a gracious host, but then the nobleman's eyes soon informed me about his real intentions. Moving his hand toward me, he tried to make them, his real intentions, explicit.
Put a hit on him.
No, he tried to fuck him, dude. Yeah, he tried to fuck him.
Put a hit on me. He's queered in the blazes.
Exactly. So then Abe pulled his thing out, obviously ripped the gun out on Kota, and was
so
like,
what are you, some type of fucking queer?
he's like, you trying to fuck me, dude? And then he fled the temple. And then Abe also, he claims that it was after this event that he fully realized the extent of the danger he had thrown himself into. And this is, again, quoting Abraham, the guy who wrote the Zend Avesta, quote, I was alone in a multitude of Moors who at the first sign from Coda could have done as they pleased with me. So the whole, he thought he was going to get squatted up.
Damn.
So he had to pull his gun out.
That he was going to get blacked.
Yeah, exactly. Raw. Exactly.
Yes.
He was lost in the hood.
There's a gang of Moors about to split open a French.
He was like, this guy's trying to fuck me, and at any minute.
I almost watched a porn in Blacked with a French girl getting split by 2 Moors last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, well, this guy was living it. He was like, I just want the fucking
It wasn't going to go well.
He's like,
I saw what
these
happened
guys
to
are
that
trying
poor
to fuck.
French girl.
He thought he was going to throw him to the squad. He's like, how did I not see this coming? They obviously want to fuck me, dude.
Sick that he called them Moors.
Yeah, that was I think that was just casual back then.
Yeah.
Right? Is that not like geographically accurate?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
The Moors were like, I mean, they were Arabic, so that would have kind of made sense.
Yeah.
They're like black Arabs.
Yeah, so I think it was.
He just saw Indian dudes and were like, dude, fucking Moors.
They're probably dark, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he said. He was like, dude, they could have
done.
done.
No, it's Moors. He's like,
and
this Moors
is their nobleman. If their nobleman's trying to fuck you, all he has to do is give all of his boys the green light, and they're just gonna fucking crush you. So at this point, he's like, fuck, dude, this whole country's trying to fuck me. So he's getting paranoid, and he switches up to another Zoroastrian guide, and he's, again, getting his hands on some of the text. He's not pleased. He's like, man, this is fucking bullshit. So he keeps pressing these dudes like, yo, like, let me in for real. So like, all right, dude, we'll initiate you into Zoroastrianism, which apparently they don't do, which was weird. Like, look, I read about this now. Zoroastrianism takes no converts, and it's a slowly dying religion. They don't bury their dead either.
Like Judaism.
Did they take converts?
Very rarely.
I think Zoroastrianism, from the thing I read, just doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, I guess maybe you can marry in. I don't know. But and Judaism's very kind of it's tough to get in on the inner circle. So they're acting like they're letting him in on the inner circle. He's wearing the traditional garb, which apparently I think one of the dudes who did this got in trouble for this from the other Zoroastrians or whatever, the Zoroastrians. And as obviously under his garb, he had a sword and a gun.
Yeah.
He's like, dude,
he's Indiana Jones.
That's where the legend of Indiana Jones comes from, which is funny.
Really?
Yeah, because you'll see. But exactly, that's where this comes from. This fucking psycho nerd who was just rolling around is like fucking pulling guns.
Yeah.
So he's in the garb, dude. He's in the temple. And they're like, dude, say you're a Zoroastrian. And he's like, fuck that, I'm a Christian. And pulls out his gun and his sword.
Yes.
And just runs out of the temple.
He's running?
And he kept the scripts. Yeah, he took off.
He did temple run.
He's like, fuck you guys. Yeah, he did temple. He slid under a couple blocks and was like, fuck you guys, I'm a Christian.
I'm a Christian.
So I think he took some of the scripts too. He took them out of there in his robe.
What the fuck?
This dude's nuts. So then soon after this, the block is so fucking hot, dude. Everyone's trying to fuck him. He has stolen scripts. And he gets into a duel with another Frenchman and he kills the guy.
Nice.
So then it forces him to take refuge with the Brits, who he fucking hates. And again, he stole all that shit from the temple. I think his brother paid them back and like made it. His brother was like doing well over there, like doing good.
His brother's killing it.
Yeah. So he chills with the British.
So wait, I'm trying to figure out. Can you guys? I'll look it up. Go ahead.
Yeah. Look it up?
I'm just trying to figure out where the frogs were in 1750.
Look up where Pondicherry or Chandanagar. That was another place. That was where they were in that area.
Okay.
So I think it was like the coast.
Yeah, it's usually West Coast.
Yeah.
But if you said Bengal,
I don't know.
It's Bangladesh.
I think it's check it out, because I think it was Pondicherry or Chandanagar was definitely the one place.
Yeah, that's East Coast. It looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look that up. I'd be curious to get your geography on it, because I'm pretty geographically. I don't really know what's where. So he's with the Brits. He's chilling with the Brits. I guess they're pretty nice to him. And while he's with the British, he gets his hands on 180 manuscripts, like original Avesta scriptures that they had. And he, while he's with them, he's under British protection, so he's doing it right. And he didn't learn the secrets from those dudes, but he did learn how to translate the Avesta scriptures into, I think it's called Swahavi or something, or Pahlavi, which is Old Persian. So he did learn Old Persian from those guys that wanted to fuck him. And then he actually got his hands on some decent scripts. So he was able, through those experiences, to eventually write the Zend Avesta that this lady's claiming, based on like the whole dudes coming from Siberia, going to the blizzard. So that's where this comes from. This guy just going over there and just absolutely hold them back from fucking them.
Yeah, so, they did have a ton of, there were a lot of French.
Yeah.
colonies in India, I guess.
Yeah, I think they're chilling on the coast. So,
but it would have been. Wouldn't that have been the East India Trading Company? Wouldn't it have just been England?
Well, that's why the English were killing it, because that's how that guy brought home like 200 of those texts.
No, I knew that, but I'm just saying I'm surprised that there were French anythings in there. I knew they were in Indochino.
Yeah, they're getting into it, dude.
Yeah.
They're all over the place. The French were bad. They were bad men back then.
I knew they were bad boys. I just figured they wouldn't be allowed in India.
Dude, I was surprised. There was so much stuff I was surprised.
The British.
Wait till we get into the Germans, dude. The fall of the German monarchy might be the fucking funniest thing.
Yeah.
Wilhelm II.
Yeah.
Fuck with him.
Yeah.
Dude. So I think I don't know if we'll get to all that, but so Abe gets back to France, dude. And again, too, he also published his memoirs, which set off a craze among renegade scholar adventurer types, which is where they think Indiana Jones kind of came from. Like renegade scholar nerds started going out there heavily armed and just being like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah. God.
So he's back in France. He publishes a Zen Vesta, which again is the book the lady cites. I guess this was in like the late 1700s or towards the middle. And the British guys, the Brits, because he publishes a Zen Vesta and is like, fuck Britain. You guys are fucking idiots. I went over there. I figured it out. And also, too, I forgot to say this, in that original crate of 200 Avesta, like ancient Hindu texts that the British brought over, there was a thing that they could have, there was like a Rosetta Stone they could have translated with. But they didn't know that. And it just sat in a box chained in like an Oxford museum, like chained to the wall. And they'd be like, check that out. And people were like, sweet.
Yeah.
So he gets back and he's like, you fucking idiots. He's like, I translated it. You guys suck. Here's the story. And he just gives them like that tale and some other stuff. And, so one of the big British Orientalists, Sir William Jones, attacks him with this. Duperron's manuscripts are the rhapsody of some mindless Hindu. For the contemporaries of Voltaire, the silly tales of gods and demons and outlandish laws and rules seemed impossible to relate to the idealized Enlightenment era view of Zoroaster or to a religion which they are associated with simplicity and wisdom. So basically the English were like, dude, they just fucking made shit up and told you, idiot. Like, that's not real.
Well, yeah, the British were right.
So here's what happened. So Abe, feeling the heat from the English and also feeling some heat from that dude's bitch wife, it was still bothering him. The dude he killed, was still being like, he fucking killed my husband. He's like, dude, chill.
Yeah, shut up,
shit's going well for me right now. I don't need your bullshit. So then he amends certain parts of his translation, instead focuses his corrections on the fact that Zoroastrians, again, like getting out of all the weird gods and this, because he did get mixed up in Hindu texts as well. So that's why it was kind of unclear. So he was like, no. Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Like Zoroastrians are definitely monotheists, worshiping Ahura Mazda. And he kind of tied them to, he's like, they're like definitely related to the biblical Abraham. And we're probably like an early, like pre-Christian people who started in Persia and then migrated to the Balkan Peninsula around Europe. So that's where he gave into that and was like, yeah, they like were over there and then they came here and they're kind of like Christians, kind of like us guys. And everyone was like, I could see that.
Yeah.
So that's where that kind of that like.
Wait.
So he came off being like, these guys are from Persia. They walked to Persia, blah, 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 blah. And the British were like, dude, they're just making shit up. Fuck you. And then he came and was like, because the hot thing back then was to like link them to Christianity.
Yeah.
And be like, I'm pretty sure these guys were like...
To link who to Christianity?
The Zoroastrians. Since they were monotheists, they were like...
I don't even know who the Zoroastrians are.
So
the Indians?
So the Zoroastrians are really Iranians, but there are Indian Zoroastrians. It was just a religion. Some guy at one point, just out of nowhere, started a religion 3,500 years ago called Zoroastrianism.
Okay.
And the Avesta scriptures, I think, are older than that, and they lead up to it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
So it was just like back then, like there was like Hindu and all this other stuff. And that was like multiple gods, you had like all that stuff. And then Zoroastrianism was like a monotheistic religion.
So they were saying some people migrated from the Middle East to Europe.
Like, yes.
Which is, I believe, true.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. None of this stuff is like patently totally true or false. I think like Xerxes was a Zoroastrian. Like it was like the main religion of a couple of the Persian empires. It just, just kind of fell. You don't bury your dead. You just leave them out and you let birds eat them.
Oh, nice.
So it's not the most appealing. And they just like light fires and chill by them. Yeah. They're like, whoo.
Yeah.
Pretty sick religion. So he started to kind of tie that. It was just some weird shit people did in the Middle East. And then people in Europe started being like, I think there's something to Zoroastrianism that links to us. That's what I'm saying. He like threw that kind of in the mix and kind of was like, yeah, just to get the British heat off him. So I think the British were pushing that. So Then in 1786, a dude, William Jones, who came out against Abe, was like, dude, you're full of shit. He figures out that there's a link between Greek, Latin, Sanskrit, and Persian languages. That's where we got the Indo-European language group from. So he studies all these languages and be like, dude, these are all pretty fucking similar.
Yeah.
And people start going like, whoa, that's fucking nuts. And then, so it's like, dude, whoa, like, did we come from over there? People started kind of asking these questions. So now you go to 1807 and the Germans are pissed. The French gave them what for? Correct?
In 1807?
Early 1800s. I think Napoleon fucked up the Prussians, I guess.
Yeah. Germany wasn't a country.
It was Prussia, yeah.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, so like the bros, that whole confederacy of dudes is like, fuck, dude. I thought we were like the most brave, awesome warriors.
It was a weird time. Everybody allied with each other, fought each other like 6 different times.
Yeah, it was like the monarch. There were still monarchies and
Russia,
shit.
Prussia,
So the group
Austria,
of people who were in that like
Austro-Hungary.
Yeah, exactly. We're just like, fuck, dude. We fucking lost to the French. Like, what the fuck? So they were trying to, in the early 1800s. So they're trying to pump themselves up on like why. There's a lot of times, a lot of this stuff starts entering into countries who kind of like just like lost.
When was the Franco-Prussian War? Is that what it is?
I believe so. Look up 1807. I think it was in there. Or don't Google 1807, but look it up.
That was later. That was 1870.
Well, that's when the Germans won that, though.
Yeah.
So the Germans won that
one. It was
the
unification there.
Yeah, but they lost earlier. I think Napoleon. Was that Napoleon back then in 1807?
Yes.
Napoleon gave them what for? And actually was like he was like occupying territory within that. And they were like, fuck, dude. It's just fucking bullshit. And then a German guy, Franz Bopp, provided scientific linguistic proof of Sir Jones, the guy from England's Indo-European theory. And then a couple of German philosophy bros, Johann Gottlieb Fichte and Johann Gottfried Herder, start to hype everyone up on this idea of the Volk. That was like Hitler shit.
The Volk, yeah.
And he started being like...
Volkswagen.
Yeah, he started being like, dudes, like, yeah, we got beat by the French, but like... Deep down inside, we're like noble warriors tied to like a long tradition of just like
tunic warriors.
Yeah, like we're sick, dudes. And everyone's like, nah, I think we suck. We lost the French. Like, nah, dude, we're the fucking Volk, dude. And like we're being plagued by like, this like shit going on right now.
Yeah.
And it didn't get anti-Semitic yet.
It's coming.
It laid the it starts to lay the foundation. So he starts pumping everyone up. He's like, look, like we're the Volk.
No, I remember.
And he was like, we got to knock the bullshit off and become the fucking Volk. And Fichte is quoted on saying, the purpose of the future German nation, which would be built off the virtues of the French Revolution, that was just in there, would be to found an empire based in spirit and reason and to annihilate completely the crude physical force that rules the world. So like, we're the Volk. We're good.
Yeah.
It's just the world's fucking evil, bro. And we have to, restore everything to order.
It's kind of how every single person on Earth feels.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, and obviously, these kind of vibes.
Tight? Where did I hear this? I forget where I heard this. It's the war right now is just between the French Revolution and the American Revolution. As far as which values, like French Revolution was equality.
Yeah.
The American Revolution was right to happiness, pursuit of happiness,
independence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Dude.
That's where democracy's at. Also, there is a pizza here. Noah, could you be a deer?
You want to pause?
No, we don't need to pause. We might have a pizza party during the history cast.
Nope, not a problem.
I might eat pizza on this episode.
You should, dude.
It'd be fun.
It'd be fun.
It'd be a nice time for a pizza party.
So these vibes were obviously picked up and ran with by the Nazis later on. But Fichte, the guy who said this, did not hate the Jews, for the record. Also, for the record, he didn't like them very much. But he didn't hate them. And while he actually resigned from his college position because people were bullying the Jews on his campus, and the college did nothing about it, and he was like, fuck this is messed up.
All right, nice.
That was pretty good. That's pretty woke for his time.
Pretty good.
He was like, I'm not a fan personally, but you can't be mean to him, man. That's what he did. And he actually resigned from his position. It was like, well, that's kind of nice. Another guy, Friedrich Schlegel, comes out and says that so like you have this idea of the Aryans floating around, like we're the fucking Volk. He comes out and he goes, dude, the Aryan Persians are definitely our ancestors of the noble Germans. So, then the Volk starts to get into this kind of like Persian shit, and they're like, dude.
Wow, it's a pretty good looking pizza.
Is that pretty good?
We'll see.
Dude, pause up.
I'll pause for a pizza break?
Pause up.
I'm gonna pause. It'll make no difference to you.
No one will tell. Pause up, dude. Get fueled.
Wow, it's a pretty good looking pizza.
Wow, that was a good pizza.
Dude, it looked yummy.
Noah, you treated yourself there. You had quite a few slices.
Really?
Gardini with a respectful 2. An absolutely respectful 2 out of the guard dog.
What did Noah have?
How many did you have, Noah?
I had 3.
leaving you 3 slices. You got to
I
equal
had 3.
now.
Well, I'm the king.
You should have 4.
I'm fat king.
You should have 4, dude.
If I get a pizza, I'm eating 3.
You got to eat 4, dude.
If no one's home, I'm eating most of the pizza.
Yeah.
If I'm at a party,
once you
3.
close that, like
you got to
you
finish
can't leave
it. 2.
Once you surpass 4, you should. Once you work like like when it's like less than half left. When you round third, when you round third, you got to just eat the whole thing.
I've been playing MLB The Show, and I only use baseball analogies now.
Yeah. Once you're round third,
I've been going to a lot of ball games lately.
Was that third? Yeah, you're on third base of a pizza, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to. Third base coach is giving you the signal. He's giving you the green light. You got
it. Take a nice lead.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Oh man, you got to play MLB The Show.
I want to, man.
I heard about your Grand Theft Auto.
It's coming.
Right.
My fucking controller got stolen off my porch.
What?
Someone stole my Amazon package, dude.
You think it was a person of color?
I don't know. I don't want to assume.
If you had to guess.
I don't want to assume. I caught there was one package thief, and he was indeed a person of color. And
what?
I caught him digging through stuff across the street, and I was like, "Hey, doing over there?" I saw him back. He was ripping packages open. I was like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And he was like, "Ugh," and he took off.
You know what we get in Queens? We get Asians going through trash.
Really? Oh, I've seen that before.
They
yeah.
love collecting cans and plastics.
I've seen that before.
I don't know what they're doing with them all. No, I do. They're taking them
getting
to recycling
paid,
centers.
Bro.
They're
getting fucking paid.
Nickels.
Getting mega paid.
Sorry about that. It'd be funny for a guy to not know what they were doing.
They thought they were like building
Asians
robots and shit.
Keep stealing my trash, and I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know what the fuck they're up to.
Back to learn about the Aryans.
All right, so the guy. So we talked about the guy. What was his name? Not Franz Bopp. The other guy, Vic, or whatever his name was.
Schlegel.
No,
Schlegel?
Schlegel came out. So the one guy resigns. He's like, dude, like, we're being too mean to the Jews. This is like in the 1800s. He's like, you can't be bullying them, bro. And he's like, I'm not being a professor here. So, that happened. And then, time passes. Another guy, Friedrich Schlegel, comes out and says the Aryan Persians, because they say that's like the scripture about the Aryans. They're like, they're definitely Aryans. They say, and so are we, the Volk. And he's basing this all off that same translation by Abraham, off the Zend-Avesta and other stuff like it. And he's like, yo, we're fucking Aryans too, dude. And the whole book of the Zend-Avesta is them being like, we are the supreme people, blah, 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 blah. But it was written 3,500 years ago when,
It was crap.
Yeah, everyone was like, we're the fucking best.
Yeah.
So.
We're the best.
Yeah, so he comes out,
we're the best.
Clearly.
You and me are the best.
Easily.
Yeah.
So, and here's a quick note, because then I started looking up, like, what does Zoroastrians say about this shit? Of like, are they ever like, it really pisses us off that people use our Bible to commit the Holocaust to be Nazis. So what they say, here's what the Zoroastrians say about the Avestas and all the translations. This was like a Zoroastrian scholar.
We've spoken to a Zoroastrian scholar. Here's his quote. No.
I read his blog. Yeah, I read his blog.
No.
I read his blog, and he goes on to explain that people with an agenda who read the Avesta scriptures usually find what they're looking for, given its ambiguity and the fact that there are, I think, 47 different translations at this point.
Yeah. They also did that with Nietzsche.
Really?
Yeah, Hitler.
They picked and chose.
He was like, we are the Supermen.
Ubermensch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was basically like,
Obervulcan.
He was saying Christians go into it and like, hey, look, angels and shit, that's what we have. Muslims find stuff. Iranian patriot sees Zoroaster as a prophet of the Iranian state. And, obviously, if you want to, rid the planet of Jews, you'll see stuff in there like, yeah, we are the best. And this stuff applies to us as well. Even anthropologists will go through the Avesta scriptures and be like, they'll find stuff about Bronze Age animal husbandry and be like, I fucking knew it.
I knew he invented horses.
They'll see clues. Like anthropologists will be like, I knew they fucking did that shit back then. And, it's all based on.
Yeah, no one really knows.
No one has any fucking clue. So that's the whole idea. It's
but
like people
I think they got the right area of where it came from.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think right away they took over India. Whoever came out with horses.
Yes.
Came down the west coast of India and started fucking shit up.
Well, it's also entirely probable. Like I said, this is the other thing too. That like,
you sound like JP there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The other, it's like it is possible because they get like the mummies with red hair in Egypt, and people freak out about that. And they're like, well, that's because when they mummify them. And blah,
yeah, it's embarrassing to freak out about any of that.
Exactly, but people get.
But the Little Mermaid is white.
True. But the what this guy's saying is like, if you have an agenda,
so is
it's
James Bond.
Easy to project it onto the Avesta scriptures and find what you're looking for. So, throwing out a footnote. So, as the Germans and the rest of Europe go further into the 1800s, the emphasis on religion and culture begins to fade. It becomes less and less important. It doesn't happen overnight. And then these German people getting teased like, dude, like, are we the fucking Aryans, dude? They start to ask. They get restless. The whole shared culture, shared Indo-European language thing, it's not enough, dude. because it's lessening in importance. And they start going like, what did the ancient Aryans really look like?
Oh, that sounds like what an Asian person would call the History Channel show.
What? So they start going like, people in Germany are like, and in France too, to be fair. And I think Ireland at one point was like, yo, we're Persian. We're like, we called it.
Yeah.
Ireland called like, we're Persian instantly. So they started being like, did the best people from that book, like, did they look like me, dude? Like they look like me, right?
Well, I understand. They didn't feel represented in all of the myths.
Exactly.
They needed to be represented.
I
don't watch a movie unless somebody looks exactly like me.
And that's kind of what was going on.
I only watch Peanut Butter Falcon and The Ringer.
So they started like getting fired up, and again that starts to pressurize like intellectuals. Like, I'll go find it. This is what people want. So they start they're digging through stuff trying to find it. And like we said, religion was fading from importance. And if you're into like Jungian psychology, they always talk about how like our impulses don't fade with the vehicles they're expressed through. So like back in the day, if I was a guy, say I was a Christian bashing Arabs, if I was doing that in like the 1500s, I'm coming at them more from like your fucking culture, boo, your religion. It's more of like a holistic 360 slam. And as religion faded from the picture, people started getting like, and as we got more emphasized on like physical characteristics, which was always there. But as religion fell away, people started attacking strictly more on physical stuff. They recognized it back then, but it was like, dude, here's an example of a slam. So it's in 1830s. You got a guy like Christian Lassen, who was another Orientalist, a student of Schlegel, who this guy Lassen starts to be like, yo, again, we're definitely fucking Aryans. And he was like, and we can tell just not the language and everything. We can tell just by the way we conduct ourselves. And this is his quote. He was like, we're the most gifted of all. This is how people used, like, before they started just being like, fuck you, dude. And like having like more.
It is. I'm sorry to cut you off. It is funny that every single culture, it's like, yeah, we're the best. We do it the right way.
Yeah.
It's like, who do you think invented the right way? Your culture.
Yeah. That's exactly.
It's so funny.
And that's all that. So, and this is like, but as the
I do it all the time.
As the emphasis on religion faded, that's when it got into more like in the early 1900s. People started measuring heads and getting into the eugenics. That's when it took on like strict physical characteristics. Yeah. That's why people say like Europeans invented racism. There wasn't racism before that. It's like it was there. It just was more kind of verbose and kind of like poetic. This is how this guy This is how this guy used to get racist back in the day. So Christian Lassen, he's like, we're the fucking Aryans, and the reason why, quote, we're the most gifted of all and perfect in talent, creativity, flawless in spirit and harmony of soul. So, and then he was the one who started to contrast the idealistic Aryan Volk with the Semite, referring to both Jews and Arabs. So he started saying the Jews and the Arabs did not possess the harmonious balance of the forces of the spirit, and that the Semites' views and notions so absorbed their intelligence that they're unable to rise with serenity to the contemplation of pure ideas.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, what a slam.
Yeah, how are you supposed to yell that out of a truck?
What a slam.
You got to streamline that.
What a slam, dude. And then, this is kind of where it gets into kind of funny. He goes on to say that the Semite in his religion is egotistical and exclusive. And then in a rather ironic statement.
This shit's egotistical. We are actually perfect.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So then one of his boys right after that is like, dude, I think Aryans are actually the chosen race. So all this is just like a wild projection based out of insecurity, blah, 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 blah.
It's almost like everything is a wild projection out of insecurity.
So that's what you get into with the with the young stuff. It's like, so you have these guys, like the religion loses importance. They start slamming more like physical characteristics. And then now you have anti-racists who are like, there's like, it's just that same that same force, dude. It's just fucking like, fuck, I fucking hate racists. And it's the same hatred. It's constantly shedding and taking on new forms. So that's kind of, just want to give a little hat tip to Young, dude, with all this stuff. So then
I'm gonna beat Young's ass,
dude.
I'm gonna find his casket and crap in it.
What?
I hate this guy.
Young's the fucking man, dude. So then Schlegel and his boys are like, yo, we're the fucking chosen race. We're not fucking Jewish or Arabic, and we're fucking also kind of Persian too, but like they're white. Get over it. And he's like, let's fucking go. And around this time, they were getting pumped because
like, what are we gonna do? He's like, invade Poland.
Well, around this time, the French are also hyped now based on the fact that they defeated the French in the late 1870s, or the German Prussian type dudes. Wilhelm I was coming off a wicked victory of like, dude,
it's time to unify Deutschland.
We got fucking revenge on the French. we're the best. And guys are like, yeah, dude, fuck that. Fuck Jews. And people are like, all right, fuck yeah. Let's just
some
keep
guy in the back's like, yeah, fuck Jews. All right, party's on, dude.
Party going. So
it feels like one of my shows. I'm just up there. Somebody yells something. I'm like, all right. We're gonna keep the stand up going. But,
so that again, the shit.
Don't yell stuff.
Yeah, don't yell it out. So they go and eugenics are hitting. It's like it's wild, dude. People are like, there's like it's like it is now with like I went to Bryn Mawr and they're like they'll have these like weird intellectual things of stuff that you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
They were just doing the opposite, where they'd be like, yeah, we measured everyone's heads, ours are perfect, and we're the smartest. So sorry, dude. And, they started doing all the eugenics and all that stuff. So then Wilhelm.
Yeah, you ever see Django?
Yeah.
You know that part in Django Unchained?
When they used the thing?
Skull stuff?
Yeah,
what was that called?
There's
a word
cranial.
for
I don't know, honestly.
Probably craniology.
Something like that. But they're measuring all this shit and being like, and they would like compare like skeletons and heads and be like, that's us, obviously. Measured our head, measured their head. We're obviously Aryan. We're the best. And so then it goes. So Wilhelm I. Everyone's like, hell yeah, dude! Like we beat the French. Wilhelm II steps up. This is kind of where my notes leave off, but I think I got this from here. So Wilhelm II.
Where's my dog Bismarck? Where's he at? You run into him?
He was a Prussian guy, right?
Yeah.
So Wilhelm II splits from Bismarck. I think there was a part where he was like, "No, dude, I'm cool." Also, Wilhelm II was half British. He was half Brit, half German.
Yeah, they all were.
Yeah, apparently
they're all related.
Kind of weird.
I think Habsburg. I forget.
I don't know, but I
know
they were
all like World War I. They were all cousins.
So Wilhelm, I think in 1880 something, like 88.
Yeah.
He's like his dad starts, I guess, dies or something. So Wilhelm II comes up on the scene. So his people are fucking fired up, dude. They're like Aryan stuff, and they're like, yeah, dude, this shit fucking rules. Yeah. So Wilhelm II, let me see, according to my notes here. Yes, we got hit. Eugenics hits. Everyone's wild. They also had it. So Wilhelm II takes them into the Boxer Rebellion. So they go into China. They go into China, but
you see how many people died in that?
A lot of people died. Well, they were killing Christians.
They get a lot of people.
Chinese are killing Christians. So then, but apparently Germany, like Wilhelm's forces, they only sent like 800 troops. They sent like a weak amount of troops, and he also, so they didn't basically help at all. They showed up late, and then Wilhelm, this is his first major scandal, was like, we're about to go hit fucking China like the Huns did a couple thousand years, and like referred to like going in and just decimating the entire population. And everyone was like, whoa, bro. In the 1800s, I was like, dude, chill.
Yeah.
Chill. You can't be bringing that kind of shit up. So that was his first major scandal. People were like, dude, this guy's kind of fucking nuts.
That's a sick war plan, though.
Yeah, dude.
Respect. I've met with my war council. We decided we're just going to kill everyone. All right.
He was basically like, go forth and show them how Christians love to suffer. And like, we're going to go, and like, this isn't even going to phase us.
Damn.
We're going to roll through there.
We were ISIS.
He was nuts. Or he was like, apparently very eloquent. He would give 6 speeches, but every now and again, he would just cross the line a little.
Yeah.
He get fired up. So.
He's pushing boundaries.
He's pushing boundaries hard. So he had that. The Boxer Rebellion was kind of a shame on the German nation. Like the other, England and France were like, what the fuck? Yeah, way to show up. Like your boy, you get in a fight and your boy like, doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
They were hitting Germany with that. Like, dude, you didn't even do anything. Shut up. And then like, so the Germans are kind of embarrassed. And at this time too, people are kind of like questioning the idea of the monarchy in general. So he's on a slippery slope. And then after that, he had the Eulenburg scandal. The Eulenburg scandal in Wilhelm II's like interior party. It turned out a bunch of them were gay. And a news reporter leaked that a lot of his boys were gay. And like, dude, people started killing themselves and shit. It was bad. So then a lot of people like, I think Wilhelm's fucking gay. He was like, fuck that, dude. No, I'm not.
Well, I ain't.
So he started spazzing. And then he goes over, so that's one scandal. He's like, fuck, dude. He like, the Boxer Rebellion kind of throws him off. Everyone's like, yo, Wilhelm's fucking gay. And he's like, no, I'm fucking not. So then he goes over to Morocco because he's trying to stir up this whole like Middle Eastern. He like loved the Middle East. He's like, fucking Aryans, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck. He's like, if I wasn't a Christian, I'd be a Muhammad man.
Nice.
That's what he said. He's like, dude, this shit fucking rules over here. So he goes into Morocco and is like, dude, you guys should be an independent nation, totally forgetting about like, the fact that France was occupying Morocco.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck that, dude. You guys rule. There's no reason you should be bowing down to the French. And the French are like, the fuck, dude?
What are you telling him that for, dude?
He was also feeling the victory he just had over them. So he's like,
pimps.
Dude.
They were like, yo, why are you talking to one of my bitches?
Exactly. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. So he's just wilding, dude.
I just watched Casablanca.
Did you really? I never saw that.
It's actually good.
I bet
You'd like it.
It's apparently one of the classics.
It's great.
Dude, so he has the Moroccan crisis. And so that's like, people are like, dude, I don't know about this guy. He's kind of fucked up. And then in a news report, like he was like in some sort of interview, just spazzes on England. He's like, they're fucking nuts, dude. They're all crazy and fucking weird. But he also like loved England. It was weird.
Yeah.
So he spazzes on England. He pisses off the French. He dishonors like the English monarchy. And then Archduke Franz Ferdinand, his boy, Wilhelm II, that was his close boy, gets capped, dude. So then, that was Austria, right?
Yeah.
So then Austria declares war on Serbia.
Yes.
But Austria was Wilhelm II's ally. So he's like, well, we got to defend you.
And then the Ruskies.
Exactly, dude. And then so the Ruskies were like, well, fuck you then. We're defending Serbia, so we're going to fight you. And then I think there was an agreement between France and Russia where it's like, well, France is like, hey, dude, if you're attacking the Russians, we're fucking you up. And then England was like, well, if you cross through Hungary or wherever it was, if you cross through Austria, I forget wherever it was, if you cross through this one neutral territory, we're going to fuck you up too.
Yeah.
And Wilhelm II goes, fuck, dude, I think I got set up.
Yeah.
I think this was I think he starts getting paranoid.
I think the Black Hand set him up.
He thinks it was a European scheme to destabilize the German nation. That's what he started. That's a tight time he was on, dude. He's like, dude, I'm not gay. B, I'm getting set up. So they go into World War I. Doesn't go well for the Germans, obviously, as you know. Gets his butt kicked. And then it's funny, actually, they talked about how a young Hitler fought in World War I, and he got burned with chemical gas, and he woke up in his bed, and someone's like, yo, we lost, and he just fucking kicked and screamed his bed, and was like, fuck. So they all hated Wilhelm II. They're like, you're a fucking idiot. You started all this bullshit. So then his whole navy revolts on him. His navy mutinies, and there's like an uprising, and everyone's like, overthrow the monarchy in Germany. Fuck this. This sucks. And he goes into exile. His exile is actually pretty sick, dude. So he goes into exile in the Netherlands, where he chopped.
Oh, that's not very far.
Not at all, dude. He went to the Netherlands. The rumor is that it took 60 train cars to transfer all of his wealth and possessions. So he just goes out there with a ton of shit. He bought a
discreet.
Discreet dude, man.
I'm in hiding.
He killed thousands of animals hunting, chopped down like acres of tree, like loved clearing forests. So he just cut down trees, killed thousands of animals, grew a long beard. And he also bought a house in Greece from the family of an Austrian empress who was stabbed by an Italian anarchist. So she died, and he was like, yo, I don't know what you guys do with the house. Bought just for no reason. Bought the house in Greece. And then he was just like, he's rich as fuck. He's chilling. And then, Nazism starts to rise. And eventually he's watching that being like, oh, that's my ticket back to the, fucking monarchy. Like, they're going to rise, bring Germany back to power, and just be like, yo, bro, we did it. Here you go. So he reaches out to Hitler, and he was like, what's good? And they're just like, fuck off, dude. Like, we don't care about you. And then Kristallnacht happens. And then Wilhelm comes out, and he's like, dude, that's fucked up. Like, this is not going good. And this was his quote against Kristallnacht and against Hitler, because he was like, yeah, these fuck, I like this Nazi. He's like, it's a little edgy, but I think I know what they're doing, and they're gonna bring me back to glory. So when Hitler did Kristallnacht, and then like I think one of his sons was like, he was talking to his family, and his son was like, yeah, like that's what you got to do, and he was like, I'm so ashamed to be a German. So this was his story. This was his thing about Hitler. This is a quote: "There's a man alone, without family, without children, without God. He builds legions, but he doesn't build a nation. A nation is created by families of religion, traditions. Is made up out of the hearts of mothers and wisdom of fathers, the joy and the exuberance of children. For a few months, I was inclined to believe in National Socialism. I thought of it as a necessary fever, and I was gratified to see that there were associated with it for a time some of the wisest and most outstanding Germans. But these, one by one, he has gotten rid of or even killed. He has left nothing but a bunch of shirted gangsters. This man could bring home victories to our people each year without bringing them either glory or danger. But of our Germany, which was a nation of poets and musicians, of artists, which everyone says, and of soldiers, he has made a nation of hysterics and hermits engulfed in a mob and led by 1,000 liars and fanatics." Comes out with a pretty hard slam on Hitler.
Yeah. And
then Hitler starts to win, dude. Instantly comes out and it's like, woo! Yeah. He's like, yo, Hitler, dude, he wrote him a letter and he said, "My Fuhrer, I congratulate you." Just changes his tune pretty hard in 1940. "I congratulate you and hope that under your marvelous leadership, the German monarchy will be restored completely." And apparently Hitler saw it, laughed, and went, "What a fucking idiot." Yeah. He just never responded. So then, he didn't let go. So during his last year, Wilhelm II had gone from being like, this guy's fucked up, towards like when he got older in his last year in the Netherlands, he started getting on some shit. He said Wilhelm believed that Germany was a land of monarchy and therefore of Christ, and that England was a land of liberalism and therefore of Satan and the Antichrist. He argued that the ruling classes of England were Freemasons thoroughly injected by Judah. So he flipped his script a little bit.
Yeah.
He started being like, Nazism.
He got old.
Tight. He got old.
Yeah.
And he started saying, British people must be liberated from the Antichrist Judah. We must drive Judah out of England just as he has been chased out of the continent. So he thought the Freemasons and the Jews had caused the 2 world wars.
In his defense, if he was in the Netherlands
Yeah.
in the 40s,
Yeah.
you got to write that.
Yeah.
If somebody finds that.
What do
Because
you
that
mean?
was Nazi controlled.
Oh, in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, he started saying basically like he was the subject of an elaborate English setup. You know, he's like, we are the nation of Christ and like just fucking the Volk, and they're getting infiltrated on some bullshit. I think like, I guess like you were saying, the French Revolution stuff.
Kind of.
Liberalism and stuff.
Well, yes. But, yeah, it's tough to I mean, I'm not disputing it, but like any documents from people in Nazi Germany, it's tough to tell.
Well, exactly. So this is the thing too. So he's watching the beginning of World War I and being like, World War II, being like, oh, hell yeah, dude, we're going to win this shit. So he starts being like, yo.
Well, yeah, he also was in Holland. So he was like, they're going to come here shortly.
Yeah.
I better start fucking being like, yo, you guys do rule.
That's probably what he was
doing.
doing.
I was talking shit a couple months ago, but now that your guns are.
Well, he discovered the Illuminati, dude.
Yeah.
He was there and he's like, wait, what the fuck? And then exactly. He started being like, you guys fucking rule. And before he died, he wrote a 1940 letter to his sister, Margaret. And he wrote basically like, the hand of God is creating a new world and working miracles. We are becoming the United States of Europe under German leadership. And he starts to say some other stuff about the Jews getting kicked out of Europe. And he was just like, you know, he's like, dude, this comes from this whole dream of like the Volk and blah, blah, blah. So he dies before the Germans attacked. What was that called? When they attacked Russia?
Yeah.
I forget. There's
Barbarossa.
Like Barbarossa. Yeah. He died right before Barbarossa, just being like,
so shit
he was
sweet.
Like, woo, baby.
Yeah.
He's like, we're number one. I knew we'd be good. Yeah. And then obviously they go into, whatchamacallit. Yeah. So he's like, dude, the monarchy will be back, blah, 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 blah. We're good. And then the Germans went into Barbarossa, and it just didn't go well, bro.
Didn't go great.
Did not go great at all. And that was the whole idea, was like, you know, he was against, that's where like, oh, and also too, a lot of the anti-Semitism of the First World War, when they lost, they came back and they were like, I didn't see any Jews fighting next to me. The Germans were like, so that like started a lot of the shit. Like,
they thought they got sold out.
Yeah.
By the Jews and the politicians.
Yes. So they were kind of like, what the fuck? So, okay. So where am I? Okay, so and this is also one of the other things too that Hitler was kind of using the Aryan stuff to pump people up, was he was going back into like ancient Persian stories, talking about like when Cyrus freed the Hebrews from Babylon, which resulted in like the Hebrews getting out, and he was like, they kept being like, that's what fucking fucked up society and blah 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 blah. So that he still has his people, like, even though they're getting crushed in Russia, he's still pumping them up on this like Aryan master race stuff.
Yeah.
So slowly they Germans starts reaching out to Iran, and like, you know, it wasn't Iran yet, it was just Persia, and they're like, yo bros, like, we're the same, because they're trying to fight. Yeah. They get crushed in Russia, and they're like, or it just doesn't go well in Russia, so they're like, all right, they start reaching out to like different countries.
Yeah, they got crushed.
And this is how the dudes, like Iranians, will chuck up salutes to, like, sometimes chuck up Nazi salutes. So he starts going out to, the guy was Shah Pahlavi, who was now we're jumping to Persia, or yeah, it was Persia. So the English were like kind of putting up the monarchy of Persia, and Shah Pahlavi was he was like a general or something, and then eventually he like rose to power, and as he rose to power, he kind of overthrew the British put up Shah Pahlavi, because the British wanted to keep the Russians out of like India and that whole area. So he was kind of he was put up in position by the British, and he fought the Russians, blah 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 blah, and then he starts I guess like getting a little foreign aid from England, and he overthrows the monarchy, and he has to he's like, I'm building the Iranian nation, and Iran, he starts coming up like, what are we gonna do? And the whole time the German like interior ministries, like, they have their Persian delegates sending this guy like, yo, do this, check this out, check out this thing, these Endovestas, you know, like get into it. And they start to go, he's like, we got to start a new country, not Persia, because Persia, like when Europeans hear about Persia, they were like deeply embarrassed by getting fucked up by the Russians in like the 1700s. So they were like, dude, like, you know, we got to start a country. We want to be like a strong power. We're the best, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, sorry, I'm just trying to access my notes in my brain. So he founds Iran. He founds modern day Iran, which translates into the land of the Aryans. The whole Iranian state is built on, you know, it's deeply rooted in kind of this myth of the Iranians. And they were like still talking to the English, talking to the Germans, but they had German people. They had a lot of Germans in there, like German officials in Iran at the time. And then the English started Germany started losing the war, and when the British and the Russians were like, yo, give up those German people or we're going to come fuck you up. And they were like, this guy at this point, you know, he built Iran. He's like, I got this big ass country. We're the best. And he just got flattened by England and Russia. Like they didn't even fight. They came down on him and all the soldiers were like, fuck this, I'm out. So he was deeply embarrassed. And then since, I guess he was so cool with Germany, he didn't hand the Germans over. He let them flee the country. And then the Russians were like, well, fuck you then. We're going to occupy Tehran and all this stuff. So it wasn't looking good for him. So then he was forced to retire. And then his son took over. And that's like around that time, as they call it Iran, the land of the Aryans. And his son was like, we need to start an Aryan brotherhood with India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. And, you know, the whole thing ends with them still to this day being like, we're the fucking Aryans, we're the best.
Wow.
Because in order to build the Iranian state, they had a similar issue where they were like, we just got smashed by Europe. And the Shah was like, oh, we're white, dude. Like, how do you know what happened? We were white and we were crushing shit in the Middle East, like the Germans told us and all these other things. And then we intermixed with Muslims. So they had the same issue with Muslims being like, they fucked us up. We're actually supreme in all of intelligence and everything. They fucked us up. And then Iran was built out of like a similar myth. So, and to this day, Iranian Aryanism still thrives.
Damn.
That was an abridged version.
Yes.
But pretty sick. I was getting scattered. I was just freestyling.
No.
But that's why today you go to a German soccer game with Iran and it'll be dudes like chucking up fucking Nazi salutes because they're still like, we know, bro. Like there's a couple dudes who are like, we're the Aryans, we're the best.
We got that scribble.
And both just got leveled.
Yeah.
And you know, in those wars, they just weren't having a good time. So there it is. There's the Aryan myth. And again, it's like people say, dude, there's you know, maybe there is, dude. Maybe there's redhead fucking, you know, Egyptians. That's cool. Like, whatever. But when people start being like, and they don't want you to know this shit because you're the fuck, it's like, dude, just fucking turn that shit off.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much history they don't want you to know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm always.
Yeah.
Who's they?
Yeah. But again, it's like, you know, that whole narrative was based off of the Zendavesta, which was written by a dude who was like geeking out, pulling guns. And it's like, dude, you might get one. Like, yeah, maybe there were fucking, like that lady has another book about there was like blonde hair people in Central America. It's like, I guess, dude. I don't know. That has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, who cares?
That doesn't help me.
Yeah.
So that was that's how the word Aryan started and worked its way through World War II. And obviously after World War II, the Nazis fell. People in Europe were like, let's chill on that word. But in Iran, they were like, whoa, we are the fucking Aryans and we're the best. And yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
Well, I hope you learned something.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Matt, for doing the research and sharing that with us.
Thank you, bro.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, bros.